Lab guy here. I finally obtained the last two parts to complete the circuitry on this board. And that would be the 1 ohm 10 watt resistors. These are ceramic or sand resistors as they're called. So I've mounted them on the up on their legs, and they're resting on top of the heat sinks. I'm not going to be pushing this at high power, so hopefully it won't get too hot. So the first thing I've got to do is to solder it in, solder one end to ground, and then connect the other end to the terminal on the terminal strip, and pin 5 on the power op amp. This forms the feedback and turns the amplifier into a voltage to current converter. And using a 1 ohm resistor, we get a very simple calculation. 1 volt in is 1 amp out. 1.5 volts, 1.5 amps. Minus 100 millivolts, minus 100 milliamps, and so on. So here I am trying to solder that lead to the top ground plane. As usual, corrosion gives it a little trouble when I'm trying to solder it. Now it's time to install the last 2 wires, and I'm using white for the return current from the deflection yoke. I'm using white wire for that color code. And when I was doing this, I goofed, and this wire is going in, and I connect it to this terminal strip and to pin 5 on the op amp, and forgot to connect the middle to the end of that power resistor. Otherwise it was fine. That has been repaired. Come on. Here it comes. At this point, the dual scan amplifier is nearly complete and is ready to enter the testing phase. Stay tuned for a progress report on that coming up in part 8.